Dr. R. Venkatachalam, who is the backbone of our department's activity, to give presidential address. Sir, it's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, sir.
Distinguished Secretary and Correspondent Sanitation, sir, most respected resource person of the day, Dr. Alagappa Moses, Vice Principal and Head, Department of Environmental Science, Bishop Weber College, Trichy, beloved HOD of Department of Social Works, Dr. Bhagavati Raja, beloved Sharmila Banu, beloved IQAC Coordinator, Dr. S.M. Jayasudha, and my dear participants. Very good evening and all. I'm extremely happy that even though COVID-19 pandemic locked the many doors, to open the doors for webinars. More number of webinars are being conducted by various departments of our college. But this one webinar is very, very special because this is very first time we are going to see about the impact of COVID-19 on some environmental issues. Really, I appreciate the efforts taken by the Department of Social Works for their trying to organize this webinar on an innovative topic, faculty development program on implications of COVID-19 on some environmental issues. For the purpose, they have invited a very eminent person, Dr. Alagappa Moses, Vice Principal and Head, Department of Economics, the prestigious and college and icon of Tiruchirappalli, the Bishop Weber College. I thank Dr. Alagappa Moses for having accepted our invitation and being with us. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for joining with us. Welcome. Also, I thank all the participants for their interest shown on this webinar and participating in this webinar. Thank you very, very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Selvaraju, sir, Dean of Science, to deliver the facilitation address.
Most respected Secretary, sir, beloved Principal, sir, respected Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Alagappa Moses, sir, Program Convener, Dr. Bhagavati Raja, and Program Coordinator, Sharmila Banu Madam, and my dear professors and participants. Good morning to all. First of all, I congratulate the organizer for arranging such a useful FDP program. There is nothing constant in life except change. A lot of change in quick time has happened due to COVID-19. And changes is never easy, but we can do to hope with the change. My best wishes for a very successful program and wish you all a very good day to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning again. Here, I'm going to preface our resource person. He is a man of excellence, efficient, and with loads of knowledge, and living legend, mobile library, Professor Alagappa Moses, sir, who is having more than 3 decades of teaching experience in the field of environmental science. He has more number of major and minor projects of environmental impact assessment. He is one of the NABET accredited member who often used to do environmental audit and site selection for the companies. He has more links for different kinds of environmental oriented projects. He is a person who is owing environmental consultancies and finished many projects, especially on ecology and green campus auditing sanctioned by national and international organizations and also from the Ministry of Environment and Forest. He is a member of United Board Christian Higher Education, Hong Kong. He has published more number of books and papers in national and international journals. He has participated in environmental management program in France, Italy, USA, and Netherlands from the year 1987 till now. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce such an eminent and effective person, research reservoir, Vice Principal of Bishop Weber College, to be present here. I request Dr. Alahappa Moses sir to take over the session. Sir, please.
Thank you, Shamila Banu, for your nice words of introduction. At the outset, it's my pleasure to extend my greetings from Bishop Weber College. I thank the organizing committee for providing or giving me the opportunity. My thanks to the head of the Department of Social Work, Dr. Bhavadi Raja, for the welcome and the kind of introduction that he has given, and the focus on the COVID-19 and the kind of the damage that it has caused over across the globe. And thanks to the principal, Dr. Venkatachalam, for the nice presidential address that he has delivered. And to Mr. Selvaraju, the Dean of Sciences, for offering the felicitations. I also thank the Secretary of the College for being the patron of the program and then giving all the administrative support for the organizing this kind of a program. My congratulations to the Erode Arts and Science College for choosing the wonderful topic and taking care of the orientation of all the faculty members as part of the FDP to focus their attention towards the implications of COVID-19 with an environmental perspective. As we all know that the COVID-19 has got, a serious damage it has caused in terms of the lives, the precious lives of human beings, then to the property, and then to the, the well-being of the people in terms of their, uncertain life always. So therefore, is this COVID-19 is considered as a risk or a reward? So this is the kind of the focus that each and every one of us should have an insight among us. When we think of it's a risk, always we look at the kind of the damage to the lives, to the damage to the environment, or in terms of the damage to the, the economic status of the people, the society, the kind of the damage that society has, has undergone, and so on. At the same time, we are looking only at the negative side of this COVID-19, and it has a lot of positive side also. That's what we consider as the reward that the COVID-19 has given to us. You can see in some of these pictures that there was a very serious damage to the environment in terms of the pollution, the air pollution. And almost you can see in one of these slides where in Paris, you can see the Eiffel Tower is, totally is being, due to the smog and then the kind of the effect, it's not being visible. But during the COVID-19, you can see that it is very clear, and then you can see the damage is less. A quick glimpse of the COVID timeline, you can see, in the Wuhan city from December 31st of 2019, the feedback what the WHO, the World Health Organization, especially Tedros and his team has received across the globe in terms of the kind of the fatality and then the kind of the damage that it is causing and the health implications. They started working on, what's going to happen, what will be the kind of trend and what will be the kind of the COVID and it's what's going to happen in terms of its proliferation and then multiplication, and then how this novel coronavirus is going to cause a serious damage to the people. So you will find at one point of time that this WHO has made a very detailed investigation and studies about this, and their literature review and their scientific investigation has revealed that it's going to be a kind of a global emergency. So on the 30th January 2020, the WHO has declared it as a global health emergency. And this public health emergency is of a great international concern, which poses a high risk to the countries with great vulnerable health systems being affected. So over 200 countries across the globe have experienced this pandemic effect of the COVID-19. So realizing the seriousness and realizing the global emergency and responding to it, the government of India, as you all know, that a nationwide lockdown and has been announced. And you can see in this, there is different phases of lockdown. and there are 4 phases have been experienced, and then there was an unlock. So now we are experiencing this unlock at the same time, till 31st of July, we are not uncertain about, whether it's going to be extended or it's going to be the unlock, the lockdown will be announced also. So we consider this as a kind of the nature trade-off paradigm. So we need to understand what this trade-off analysis, and we consider this a trade-off paradigm, it considers both the positive and then the negative effects, the impact of the COVID-19 on the human interventions on the nature. So always we look at the nature, we exploit the nature, we consume a lot from the nature. At the same time, we are not giving back anything to it. So therefore, the nature trade-off paradigm is a great insight to us in terms of looking at how we are going to respond to it. And this lockdown, and then this COVID-19, and especially the lockdown that has been announced by most of the countries, is having a very great deal of positive impact on the environment. So how this trade-off analysis, which looks at the positives and the negatives, is so relevant to the COVID-19. So you can see from this, every crisis, it provides the opportunity to learn. So you can see as the trade-off, India, China, and Paris, you can see how some of the monuments, some of the structures were invisible due to the air pollution, but which is being now totally visible. And then it is mainly because of the lockdown, which is one of the positive impacts. So therefore, this trade-off paradigm is a great result what we have experienced from this COVID-19 lockdown. So the fundamental tenets of the trade-off need to be understood. In terms of the economics, we'll find the humans have unlimited needs, but the planets have, it has a limited capacity, what we call as the carrying capacity. So the carrying capacity, which is so limited to satisfy the needs of the human beings, is one of the great challenges now we are facing. So it is one of the fundamental tenets of the trade-off. You can see in this picture that the resources are totally limited. And at this point of time, during this COVID-19, during this lockdown, we are, the pattern of consumption is totally different. Okay? So we consume more in terms of the energy, the domestic level, and the industrial sector is consuming, totally it is locked down, so therefore no much of energy consumption is there. So at the same time, you will find the unlimited need which is being experienced by human beings, which is being sought by the human beings, is one of the great challenges which is facing right now. So therefore, as part of the environmental paradigm, trade-off paradigm, whatever it is, you can see here there are 4 things given. One is the coronavirus. It hits a reset button in the environment. So you might have seen in the gravitas, in the WIAN news, it is being very clearly focused that how this resetting is being done by this coronavirus. So this coronavirus hitting the reset button has caused so many things, so many changes, so many change in terms of the lifestyle, the socioeconomic status of the people, and also in terms of the socioeconomic conditions of the the entire country, and also in terms of even many third world countries are very seriously affected by it. The second paradigm which I think we need to understand is the human lockdown has unlocked the nature. So this kind of an unlock mechanism, unlock system, unlocking pattern has a very serious positive note towards the environment. So as the human beings started retreating at their homes and then taking rests during this period of lockdown, now it is the time for the animals to return and then to look into the place where the human beings are living. There was a time when we were visiting the sanctuaries and the national parks, and then looking at what is happening to the wildlife and how they are living, and then we trying to disturb them. We always try to go for a kind of a poaching activity and exploit the forest and the wildlife. So therefore, this human retreat has very positively has made a lot of changes. So therefore, the animals started returning to their the cities and then their own home. There are places which is being considered as the animal corridor, and all these animal corridor is being very well now being occupied by these animals. So the space which we consider as the residential, the commercial centers, and then the animal corridor, whatever it is all these spaces are being very well occupied by now. The animals are coming and going. So the lesson what we are learning now from this is the coexistence. We need to learn about the coexistence. So how we can live in harmony with nature. That's what is one of the important environmental paradigm, the model that we have learned from this COVID-19. So when we say that, always those who have seen the Guian news, the gravitas, you might have heard about this resetting button, how it is being, always being hit by this coronavirus. Okay. So from this, what we have learned is there is a healing which is taking place every day starting from the day one of the lockdown from the 25th March onwards. You will find there is a perfect healing, a restoration, a kind of a regeneration by itself, it's happening. So the air pollution is decreasing, which is very evident. And, most visibly you will find, most of the news you will find, the COVID-19 as a very positively has influenced the environment in terms of, reducing the air pollution and then trying to make the air that we breathe is so pristine. As you know that, many of the non-governmental organizations are projecting that due to the air pollution, we're not getting good amount of oxygen. Now you will find there are pulse oximeters all around us. And even the government is going for procuring such pulse oximeters and trying to find out, what is the percentage saturation level of the oxygen in every individual. Even when it comes below 90%, they consider it as one of the something is dangerous to the particular individual. They might be susceptible to be affected by the COVID-19 or so. So therefore, the air pollution has a very serious damage to play, both the health as well as to the environment. So it is one of the things that this coronavirus, in terms of its hitting the environment, has reduced the air pollution. And the third point, you'll find the carbon dioxide is another important one, which is, like in the atmosphere, large amount of carbon dioxide is there. And the United Nations, UNFCCC has come out with a lot of protocols and then a lot of, like COP, agendas, which has made every country to adapt certain measures, the climate adaptation measures, and to look into the carbon trading, carbon offsets, and trying to find out the carbon footprint level of every country. So therefore, a large amount of CO2 is ending. Okay. I'm just coming third one here. Excuse me, is the PPD's every slide is changing? Shamila Bano or any of the participants?
No, sir. No, sir.
It's not changing.
No,
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, just a second. Sorry for the inconvenience. No, previous. Before. Okay, change on. So that one also. That one. Next. Fifth. 181. Next. 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 I know. Okay, now full view. Slide view. Okay, so in the meantime, it's getting ready. Like I was talking to you about the carbon dioxide. So the large amount of carbon dioxide, like in the atmosphere, is one of the great challenges which the UNFCCC is taking care of it in the global agenda, and then the United Nations also is taking care of that. So therefore, they wanted to reduce the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. So therefore, it's one of the great things that the lockdown is now, as naturally it has started reducing the carbon dioxide levels. And then the level of the ozone layer is also recovering. This slide. Okay. And scientists, they say when they started finding out the ozone layer depletion in 1975 onwards, now they say that there is a great recovery that the ozone layer is experiencing. Okay, and also the global warming on the whole is decreasing, and the atmosphere is going to clean by itself, and it's going to be a kind of a stronger change. Next. Okay, so therefore, on the whole, the impact on the environment is like the carbon emissions is one of the things that is being addressed, which is a kind of a positive note. The environment is getting cleansed by itself. And there is a waste generation is increasing, right? Okay. And the third one is there is a great deal of wildlife and habitat. It's getting changed, and then it's, the wildlife is coming into it, the human habitation, and it's occupying the space that the human beings once started occupying their, own habitat. And also there is a great deal of energy sectoral utilization, an increase in the domestic energy utilization, and so on. Okay, next. So the pandemic and its impact is looked into three levels. One is the short-term impact, what the environment is experiencing. And the second one is the medium level, and the third one is the long-term one. So the short-term, the medium, and the long-term are these three pandemic impacts, which is being focused by the Institute of Global Environment and Sustainability. Next. So according to this, the crisis is mainly caused by a combination of especially two related phenomena. One is the constant interaction what the environment is experiencing, especially the complex and the harmful interaction between the human being and then the wildlife. This is one phenomenon. And the second one is what we consider it as the modern globalization. That is actually the movement of people and the goods across the borders. So these two were considered according to the International Global Environment Sustainability Institute, and it is being addressed very well. These two phenomena with reference to the three short-term, medium, and long-term impacts. Next. So in which case you will find the short-term, which addresses immediate concerns of the environment. So that means like the hospitals, the medical care facilities are considered as one of the centers where the waste generation is too much. Like you will find this. Is it visible now, right? Shamila, Banu, or anybody else can respond to it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Right, fine. So as part of the short-term impact and short-term urgent concern, you will find the medical waste is of great concern, and the air quality changes. It is being experienced mainly by incineration of the biomedical waste generated out of the COVID situation, and the sustainable lifestyles also. Okay, so these three are considered as a short-term, concerns which need to be immediately addressed. So all these three happens within the medical care facilities and then within the human habitation. You will find sometime on the 24th February in one of the survey and then the data that it's being collected by the World Health Organization. The Wuhan city, which has about 11 million of people, you'll find about 200 tons of this biomedical waste constituting mainly the masks and then the gloves and then the personal protective equipment were generated as on 24th February, and which was an average figure, and then it started increasing, okay, day by day. So when it happens to Wuhan city itself, you will find, what's the state of the rest of the world. Okay? So therefore, the medical waste is of great concern, and almost all the biomedical waste management facilities are finding it very difficult to manage this and then to even go for incineration. And such incineration, since it is being, 200 tons per day is being received, and maybe they might be having about 10 centers of biomedical waste management facility to incinerate those waste. You can imagine how much of the air pollution it's going to cause in terms of the incineration, and what will be the kind of the bulk burden that this incineration facility will be having in the city of Wuhan itself. But at the same time, if you think of our own city, like, in Tamil Nadu, we are having about 6 centers. There is one in Coimbatore. There are a couple of centers in Coimbatore. There is one near Senkipati in Tanjavur, and there are a few in Chennai. So all these centers are receiving the waste, medical waste, especially from the COVID, wards, and then the facility wherever the COVID treatment is being given. So all these facilities are finding it very difficult to manage this waste. But it is a very short term. At the same time, is of great immediate concern. So as part of the second one, the medium term, you will find there is a way it is being paved for the post-crisis green recovery. So there are different brands and varieties of the masks are being produced, and they say that there are eco-friendly. There are the masks with 3-ply and masks which are like say KN95 or K95 or N95, and then your different kind of grades are available, and you can imagine how we are handling them and how it is being disposed of. Okay, so therefore a new deal has to be initiated, which is now being taken up by leading non-governmental organizations, which I'm sure that will definitely come out with kind of a new way, which will help in terms of the post-crisis green recovery. If you look at the long term, it creates a resilient and sustainable society. So the damage to the environment, the positive impact to the environment is so much, which is being quantified and being reported in many of the national dailies and journals and the media and the WhatsApp and in Instagram and so many other kind of social platforms, which need to be well understood. Okay, so we need not have to be a kind of a panic situation to be created in terms of how this is being looked into. So therefore, what we need is a kind of a long-term vision, which creates a resilient and a sustainable society. So you'll find in the point number 5 is an integrated approach. So therefore, you need to develop an integrated approach wherein both the government, the non-governmental organizations, as well the other stakeholders should have hand in hand with, and then to set a kind of a target by which, and a kind of a project by which they can very well tackle this kind of a situation. And what is required now is, it's a kind of a sustainable society, city that is required, developing a sustainable city. So at this point of lockdown, now we are sitting at home, and then we spend a lot of time in various kind of activities. Okay? We are not moving out. Okay, so this over 60 plus days of this lockdown has given us a kind of a situation where we need to visualize how we are going to lead our life in the days to come. There are a lot of new gadgets have come, which a lot of new strategies are being worked out, suggested by many individuals, many non-governmental and governmental organizations, to live sustainably and to meet the demands of the society, and then to plan ourselves, in terms of maybe the food, in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of the water utilization and everything, so that a city as a whole is going to be sustainable and is going to meet the sustainable development goals at one point of time. And the 7th point, you can see it's the climate adaptation planning, which is mainly what the United Nations framework consultation on the Convention on the Climate Change has come out with as one of the measures which will take care of the climate change, global warming, and other kind of impacts. So therefore, the overall management of the global risk is one of the important things which need to be looked into as a long-term like planning. Okay, next. So, okay. So the unpredictable environmental aspects of COVID, that's what I said about the 11 million people have produced about 200 tons of the clinical trash on a single day on the 24th February, which is about the 4 times of the amount of the city's, facility which can incinerate body. Okay, so therefore this was one of the great challenges. Though it's short term, we need to take care of this. Okay, so therefore this is kind of a situation what the Wuhan city is experiencing. The masks, the gloves, and then the hand sanitizers, and then even the liquid soap and whatever we are using as hand wash is getting into the system. Okay, drainage and everything, and then there are another kind of water pollution is also being experienced. Next, please. So next, the green and clean environment is one of the things that we have experienced. You can see in this slide. There is a comparison of air quality in some of the biggest cities around the world before and after the COVID pandemic shown here. So you can see what's happening in Delhi as well as in the cities, other cities across the world, and in Paris as well as in Venice and so many other places across the world. There is a very visible change everyone have experienced. The Himalayas is visible, the Mount Everest is being very visible. Next. So therefore, what we can do and what are the ways by which the coronavirus is affecting the environment and providing a kind of a positive impact. Okay, so as we have seen earlier, to summarize, we have about 7 important points given here as a sudden drop in the air pollution, okay, all across the globe in many countries. There are a lot of research articles and papers have been published in leading journals like Elsevier, what is happening in Brazil, what is happening in Germany and England and Australia and so many cities. So every country, these scientists are coming out with research publications with, accurate data on the air pollution and its drop in suddenly. And then there is a natural cleansing mechanism which is taking place within each and every standing and running water body. The rivers are getting cleaned up, and especially as you know, the river Ganges is one of the best examples. As far as in India, we can see. So river Ganges is getting cleaned up, and then river Yamuna is, all the sewage discharges are coming down, and thereby the water is clean once again. And the greenhouse gas emission is being well addressed, and then it's reducing. Air pollution is dropping as the planes are getting grounded, and there is no much of air traffic. And emission from the coal combustion are falling a very great deal to an extent in China, and then the domestic energy use is rising. This is one of the things which is happening. During the lockdown, we are at home and we are using almost all the electrical appliances. So therefore, there is a great deal of rise in the energy utilization. As well, the commercial use of energy is also falling further, reducing the emissions. The thing that the industrial emission is reduced and the domestic emission is rising, but at the same time, there is a trade-off. So we can now meet the Paris Climate Accord, the goals very sooner. That's what is, as part of the climate adaptation, the UNFCCC's mandate, the Paris Climate Accord will be definitely achieved very sooner. Okay. So the effects of the lockdown on environment is as an infographic depiction. It is given here. Next, please. So this is another way which, in terms of Indian situation, we are looking at before unbelievable environmental changes seen within India in terms of the lockdown. As we have discussed earlier, that there is a great deal of improvement in the air quality, which is very visible. And the dolphins spotted near the Kolkata Ghat sections, and in almost all the riverfront facilities in Kolkata, dolphins are very well seen, and it's one of the positive things. And the number of flamingos started increasing in Mumbai. In the Navi Mumbai, within the heart of the city itself, all the lentic environment and then the other water bodies will find, the flamingos are coming and going, and then it is one of the positive signs. And now the Ganga river is fit for drinking, which is being tested in Haridwar by the Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board. So the water is very clean, and then it is very good. Okay. So these are some of the pictures to show you about the decreased air pollution levels, which is very clear sky you can see, and even the aerial view you can see well that it is very clean. Okay. So an improvement in the air quality, you can see according to the data presented by the Central Pollution Control Board, the air quality index in New Delhi has come down from 200 to 20. Okay, this is one of the reports from the CPCB, which says that an average concentration of the particulate matter PM 2.5 have plunged by 71% in a space of a week, which is a very great positive note, and it is falling from 91 micrograms per cubic meters on the 20th of the March to 26th March and 27th, after the lockdown which has begun. Okay, so therefore, improvement in water quality is very well visibly seen, and you can see in some of these pictures in the maps, the satellite images of India in different period of time, that how in 2020, you can see it's very clear, it's very blue, like almost all the red patches have gone now. Okay, so this is one of the positive signs next. So this is what is happening in the Kolkata Ghats, right? The dolphins, which is considered as one of the critically endangered South Asian river dolphin, it's also known as the Ganges dolphin, have been spotted back in the Ganges River after about 30 years, which is one of the great findings that the Zoological Survey of India in Kolkata, based in Kolkata, have done a lot of, come out with a lot of reports about this, and they have a very great time analysis report, which says that 30 years no spotting of this has happened in the Kolkata Ghats sections. It's mainly due to the reduced pollution in the water, and also the South Asian river dolphins have been spotted in the various ghats of Kolkata, which is going to be one of the remarkable sighting, and it's going to play a very significant role in terms of the young minds in the generations to come. As you can see now here, the flamingos, over 10,000 flamingos have gathered in the city of Navi Mumbai, where the birds normally migrate to the area every year. And this time, like it has spotted that the environment is so clean due to lockdown, there is no much of human movement. So therefore, this flamingo started getting into the city of Mumbai. Next. So the Ganges is fit for drinking water in Haridwar. So one of the findings by the Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board, they have collected samples and tested it for the quality. As per the Water Quality Monitoring Program Protocol of 2006, they found that the water is fit for drinking after chlorination, disinfection. Okay, so it is assumed that due to the lockdown, there is no discharge. The point and non-point source of pollution entering into the river Ganges is reduced. So thereby, there is a significant change in the water quality, and it is absolutely fit for drinking. Next. And there is indigenous mountain is visible. You can see the Everest, right? Like even when you go to the northeast in many parts of the country, I mean, especially in the north, places where it is, they say that, you can see at the far end, the cliff of the Mount Everest, but you can't see that visibly. But now it is visible, and excellent photographs have been taken by many like nature lovers, and you can see this in North India. People are viewing that. Okay, next. And there is an unusual sighting of animals which is happening. You will find. Okay, so the nilgai is being spotted in Noida, which is one of the busiest area in Delhi. And in sector 38 of Noida, this nilgai started roaming around on the roads, and then it's one of the rare sightings, which is mainly due to the lockdown. So therefore, as in one of the paradigms I said, as it is the human lockdown, it unlocks the nature. So therefore, the nilgai has started coming into things, as well as like the chital, the spotted deer, coming into many parts of Dehradun and other places, and also in the Tirupati and other areas. Okay, this is taken in one of the cities in China. Next, please. And you can see a civet on a zebra crossing have been taken somewhere in the Kozhikode area in Calicut. Next. And you can see there are millions of turtles, coming out of the shell from the eggs, okay, like, moving around along the banks of the shore. It is estimated that over 2 crore baby olive ridley turtle. This olive ridley turtle has a very great migratory habit. It travels across and then the sea, and then it lands in many places, like in the coastal belt in the Coromandel coast from the west coast, as well as in the east, and then the other places you will find. This point of time, the number is so great that it's about 2 crore of the baby, the olive ridley turtle are hatched out, and then it's experienced in nature, and then it's one of the positive signs next. And dolphins also spotted in Mumbai and Meerut is another important finding as far as the Gangetic river dolphins is concerned, which is one of the positive signs, because the dolphins or even otters, which is being spotted in many parts of the Singapore, Malaysia, and other places. And so as the otters coming out of the natural habitat to the cities is a great phenomenon. So as the dolphins in Mumbai and Meerut, and its sighting is so great. Next. And everywhere you can see birds chirping, and then you can experience a great deal of natural kind of a sensation everywhere, which is another important positive note. Next. So this is about the river Yamuna, which looks now much cleaner. You can see before, the frothing situation, the discharges from the industries. So the point and non-point sources of pollution causing a serious quality changes in the water, as well as in terms of its aesthetic view and so on. And now after this lockdown, like you will find it is so clean, so pristine, and then it is the blue river water you can experience next. And the carbon emissions, it drops since the COVID-19 lockdown. It's about 48% in the United Kingdom, and in Italy it's about 27%. And in USA it's about 7.5%. In China it's about 18%. So this is a great deal of lockdown experience as far as the carbon emission is concerned, which is going to be definitely the Paris Accord will definitely going to be a great success, especially with this. So as we are all teachers, and every common citizen now, they are very well informed about the grave situation of this COVID-19 and its positive and negative impacts. And you have in your fingertips the data that is available, okay? How much you are consuming as part of the energy, okay? Your air pollution is how much is being reduced and everything. Because I haven't shown any much of data, but I'm just recollecting, making you to recollect whatever the factual information that is available, and trying to correlate with the data in the social media, which will be definitely helpful to you to look at the implications of this COVID-19. Okay, so how are we going to respond to this kind of a situation? So as you have seen in the long-term strategies, that we need to go with a sustainable society, sustainable city, sustainable lifestyle, which is one of the great mandate of the United Nations, is sustainable development. So therefore, you can see in this 7.7 billion dreams. Okay. But we are having only one Earth, one planet. We need to consume with care. This is one of the World Environment Day's theme in the recent past. So the consumption of the resources is more than it can provide. The carrying capacity has a great role to play. And every new person is a newcomer, adding to the demand in the society. And there are many steps we must take to make our consumption sustainable. Adding few consumers is one of the next things. So therefore, when this is the kind of the demand, you can see the human footprint over the years. The population, this is the first column you will see, the population, the consumption of the fertilizers and so on, and then you can find the level of the carbon dioxide, the fresh waters, and the forest loss, and then the marine fish capture. How the human footprint is making a great deal of change in the lifestyle. Okay, next. So when this is a situation, and you can see the overexploitation of the resources has already taken place, and during the lockdown, there is a natural reversal which has taken place. Okay. So therefore, this overexploitation over the years that we were talking about, and we are talking about the extent of the damage, the pollution due to the vehicles, due to the industries, and due to many of the other kind of things, there is a reversal now we are experiencing. So the sources of air pollution, air emissions have been just pictorially shown here, but almost all these pictorial illustration have very well have started reversing by itself. Next. So the poverty and greedy consumerism was one of the things which was happening in the past, and now people are, finding it difficult even to feed, even for a day, for a single meal, they are struggling, okay, because of the, lack of income and so many other kind of poor socio-economic conditions triggered by the COVID-19. Okay, so we need not have to look into only the impact in terms of the environment. When we look at the environment, when we look at the sustainable development, we need to look at what the sustainable development and the agenda of the sustainable development, which have been put forth in 2015 for the next 15 years, that is up until the 2030. So therefore, this transformation, what the world is going to experience, is what is required as far as the long-term creating resilient and a sustainable society. Okay, so therefore, the sustainable development goals should always be remembered. Okay, like in every walks of life. Okay, that's what is being one of the main agenda of the United Nations. Okay, so you'll find there are 17 goals given in this, right? Starting from the poverty to the zero hunger to so many other things given listed, which need to be linked as far as possible by every organization. That's one of the great things that we need to remember. As an institution, right, though we are learning about, what is happening in, like across the globe in terms of COVID-19 and its implications on the environment, both positive and negative, we need to look at our own institution also in the long-term perspective, which we need to look at in terms of the three-dimensional perspective of the sustainable development. One is the economic growth, okay? And then the social inclusion and the protection of the environment. So how as a single, organization, we are, responding to the global agenda? That's what is. So we need to understand about all these implications. At the same time, we need to respond to it as an individual, as a family, as an institution, and trying to contribute to the overall global, maybe the carbon footprint or the human footprint or the water footprint or the food footprint. So therefore, for any sustainable development to be achieved, it's so crucial to harmonize these three core elements, which is the economic growth, the social inclusion, and then the environmental protection list. So therefore, the ways to look at the sustainable development goals is we need to look at the people, their lifestyle, their demands, their consumption pattern. And then we need to look at their prosperity, and we need to harmonize everything. And then peace is important thing, and trying to have a well-established partnership among, like everyone, every nation, every institutions, okay, like every cities, every village, that we need to have an absolute partnership so that the planet Earth can be, like day by day it can be healed. Next. So therefore, the Summit 2015 of Sustainable Development has brought in the 17 goals, and these 17 goals have very well made the heads of the nations to plan for their own country. Next. So you can see universality is one of the things that the Sustainable Development Goal has very well focused. Okay, universality. So therefore, we want everything to be universal. In terms of the development of the COVID-19 itself is universal. Okay, there is no change as far as the temperate country is concerned or a tropical country is concerned. In terms of its effect on the human beings, in terms of its multiplication, in terms of its damage, in terms of the number of deaths. Okay, so therefore, universality is one of the things which need to be looked into as far as the Sustainable Development Goal is concerned. Next, and the next one is. The integrity is another one, okay, universality, and then trying to integrate things, so the integrity, and then trying to understand the goals and trying to implement those goals, okay. So the integrity helps in terms of making people to understand the kind of the agricultural things, and then trying to integrate all your technological advancements in an optimized manner. And then to transformative strategy to be adapted in every part of the world. Okay, so universal, integrity, and then transformation is the things which are being very well emphasized by the Sustainable Development Goals. Next, so the goal one is to talk about ending the poverty in all its forms everywhere. Okay, so why these 17 goals are important? These 17 goals are not only important for the country, the prime minister or the heads of the states to take care of all these and trying to implement through their 5-year plan or whatever it is, but it is the duty of every institution, every educational institution, to understand these goals, trying to integrate these goals into their managerial principles, and then trying to implement in their extension activities. Okay, therefore, poverty should need to be ended. Okay, this is goal number 1. Next. So you'll find in the second one, ending the hunger to achieve the food security and trying to improve the nutrition and then promoting, sustainable agriculture. So therefore, zero hunger is important. So therefore, we need to promote the hunger through ending the hunger through achieving good food security, improving the nutrition among the poor people. Okay, next. Then the third goal is good health and well-being. So maybe some of the goals may be achieved possibly by extension activities, and some of the goals you can achieve very well by the institutional level itself. Okay. So good health and well-being for every individual which can be educated to the students. Next, and then your own adapter village people also. And as part of the fourth one, providing a good education, a quality education to our students, ensuring inclusive and quality education for all and promoting a lifelong learning in the society. Okay. Now, due to this COVID situation, we are now trying to go with this kind of a platform and then mode of online teaching and so on and so forth. At the same time, this quality education, how best we can utilize this kind of a model technology, the ICT facilities, and then try to integrate them into our curriculum, into our pattern of teaching and learning. Next, fifth one. So the fifth one is gender equality, achieving gender equality and empowering all the women and then the girls and everyone. Okay, next. And ensuring access to water and sanitation for all. So it's one of the important things which need to be taken care, clean water and sanitation. So therefore, in one of the agenda that as an institution, what we need to practice is the sanitation facility, what is available within our own institution, how far it is adequate, how far the Swachh Bharat scheme, Swachh Bharat agenda is met with in terms of our cleanliness in the campus is being maintained. Okay, what is the level of the cleanliness of clean water that we are having? Okay? What is a kind of a green audit in terms of the water quality, in terms of the other kind of aspects of the environment that's present within the nature. So therefore, ensuring access to safe water not only within our own institution, in all the adapted villages, so that they also will be benefited by this. Okay, next. So the seventh one is ensuring access to an affordable, reliable, sustainable energy for all. Okay, so there is a clean energy, and there are energy available throughout to us. Okay, like how we are going to utilize that, how we are saving that. Okay, is there any energy audit is being conducted at the domestic level? Okay, this is the right time that we need to look at. Now we are now making appeal and representation that the electricity bill is shooting up. Okay, and we need to look at it, and then we need to use them so wisely that how we can reduce this energy consumption. And what are the gadgets, what are the appliances, energy saving, electrical fittings can be used. Okay, and then thereby we can reduce that. And how, as an institution, we can be a model in terms of optimally utilizing this energy, and trying to utilize the solar energy and trying to conduct a periodic energy audit within our campus, and then trying to respond to the society. Next. So the eighth goal is, it talks about the work and economic growth, which is one of the great challenging aspects of the current COVID-19 situation. Okay, what is a kind of a decent work that we can look into, and even the economic growth that we talk about is also a great deal of challenge. And industry, innovation, and infrastructure is the ninth one, which is another the need of the hour. So the industries are now finding it very difficult to function by themselves, and with a full manpower and full mechanical power also. And there should be kind of an innovation is required, which will help to make kind of a sustainability to be achieved in this. So as the infrastructural development within the overall country, so that like we can have a sustainable city and society which is so resilient. Next. And inequality, reduced inequality is the 10th one. Next, 11th one is sustainable city and community. Okay, so this is what is the agenda of the long-term agenda of the COVID-19, post-COVID-19 thing. Okay, like so. Therefore, how we are going to make a sustainable society? How as an institution like your college, right, having a department of social work, and they're going to respond to this, make a sustainable society within your nearest vicinity, within your adapted villages or your extension activities, and so on and so forth. In responding to the consumption and production is another one, the 12th goal. Okay, we need to ensure how the consumption and production pattern is going to make a change. Okay, and our planning is very much essential, and how best we're going to use this kind of eco-friendly mobility, okay, which will help the reduction in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions and so on. And the climate action, which is now very well taken care by the COVID-19, but we need to plan by ourselves that in the long run, how we are going to respond to this climate action in the years to come. So there must be a kind of a strategy which need to be planned and adapted by the institution. And we need to respond when we need to have a stock of how we have responded to the climate action programs, which is being either it may be a Paris Accord or by the Government of India, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Whatever the strategy that they have given, how far as an educational institution we are adapting and planning for that. The 14th one is about the life below water. Okay, this is one of the great challenges. We have seen that the dolphins are coming out. We have seen that the otters are coming out. The olive ridley turtle is coming out. So therefore, the life below water is not visible, but now it is visible due to the COVID-19. 15th one, you will find it is the life on the land. Okay. So the lockdown, the human lockdown has unlocked the nature, and all the wildlife started coming into the human habitation. In one of the clip arts, I think you might have seen that, once we were looking into the zoos where all the animals were in the cages, but now the animals started coming into our cities and looking at every window and peeping in and looking at us. Okay. So this is the reverse in the situation. Therefore, sustainable management of the forest, which is one of the agenda, I'm sure that is going to be naturally taken care. But at the same time, we need to be also look at this. So peace and justice. This is another important aspect of it, the 16th goal. We need to promote just, peaceful, and inclusive society. Okay, next. So the 17th one is revitalizing the global partnership for sustainable development. Okay. So this revitalization is possible only by integrity, by our own partnership, how we are going to set up a great deal of partnership within the society that you are in, maybe the college is in, and also in terms of the rest of the world, how you're going to show yourself in the global agenda that the Aerodots and science colleges, taking care of all these issues in a very wise manner, and then trying to address the sustainable development goals. So each goal is important, by itself. Okay, you will find that these arrows will show that how these goals are integrated and interrelated and so important. So therefore, every goal is connected, and then you need to get connected to these goals and trying to adapt to this, and then to implement these goals into your society. So at this point of time, we need to remember next bit. So we need to remember what the constitutional provisions are in India. Okay, like how we are going to respond to the constitutional provisions. So the Article 21 in India, is so important, and have two important articles. The 48A and 51AG are concerning about the environment. Next. So the 21 talks about so many things. You will find there is a privacy, there is a right to food, medical care, shelter, education, environment, healthy environment, and everything. So therefore, these need to be understood well, and then need to be addressed. Okay, so everyone should understand what is the significance of this Article 21, how we are going to respond to it. Okay, next. And also these point of sustainability. Okay, so everywhere we talk about sustainable development, right? It is the development which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs, is the definition which we have been put forth by the WCED, the World Commission on Environment and Development, in 1987, which was very carefully analyzed, and the definition was given by Brundtland, who was the chair of the commission of WCED, okay, which looks at the society, the economy, and then the environment. Okay, so these three important the dimensions are looked into very carefully and taken care, and then looked into as a sustainability. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to reduce, reuse, and recycle as much as possible in our own institution, in our own households, and also wherever it is possible, we need to advocate this also to the other people also. Okay, next. So the degradation. So there are a few slides. I'm going to just brief you and highlight you about the environmental degradation cost, what is being spent as far as Government of India is concerned. It's about 80 billion US dollars is being spent annually, which is about 5.7% of the GDP in India. Okay. When this is the situation, you will find how this lockdown has, is so beneficial to us in terms of this monetary, this money that's being spent, and the Government of India and the Government of Tamil Nadu, and everywhere you will find there is a fiscal deficit which is happening, and government spending about 80 billion annually towards the environmental degradation and trying to restore the environment and so on. And just for the sake of urban air pollution, the government has spent about 20 billion annually for the past so many years, from 2010 onwards. This is being spent. As you know that it is every year there will be a kind of a increase in this kind of budgeting. Also, at the same time, they are trying to spend so much of money, and so much of money is exclusively spent of this urban air pollution, and about 35 towards the water degradation, cleaning up of the rivers. But the lockdown has made a great change in terms of naturally cleaning the rivers by itself. Okay? The soil erosion is about 10 billion. For the forest loss, it's about $15 billion. So therefore, this is the kind of the damage, the money that is being spent, and the COVID-19, the lockdown for just about 60 plus days brought in, reduced the money to be spent or allocated towards the environmental degradation and its remedial measures to be adapted. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my appeal to you that you need to reflect upon whatever we have discussed so far about the impact which is positive and negative due to the COVID, and especially the implications of the COVID with an environmental perspective. And also remember that how we can respond as members of the faculty of an institution. Like I remember the Zero Dots and Science when we were the Department of Environmental Sciences of Vishavipa College. We started working on a major project with the Ministry of Environment and Forests, working on the Kalingarayan Canal, and then the tanneries and the textile units around Erode and Pallipalayam area. And from Hokanekal to Pumbukhar, the entire stretch of 450 kilometers of River Kaveri, we were monitoring the water quality. And we spent so much of time in Erode itself, especially that was the time when a dedicated sewage treatment plant facility was initiated. So therefore, as an institution, you have a great role to play in this kind of a situation as well as in the years to come. And you need to think of this one slide about the value of a tree. Okay, we are encouraging tree plantation and growing of trees and so on. But we need to remember what is the value of these trees. Okay? So if you look at this is one of the data available from the University of Michigan, where they have done an elaborate investigation about the value of a tree. A 50-year-old tree, when it's being cut and it is fell down, you will find about 116 lakhs of rupees is being lost, of which about 18.75 lakhs is the worth of the oxygen and 37.2 for the air pollution. And the data goes. Therefore, we need to be very careful. At the same time, that this lockdown has made a great deal of change in terms of allowing the natural vegetation to come out in healing the earth day by day. Okay, so we need to work together. We need to integrate ourselves. We need to be transformative, and we need to adapt all the universal practices which are now prevailing, which are being essential at this point of time. Next. So thank you very much for the opportunity given. by the Erode Arts and Science. I thank the secretary, the principal, the organizing committee, and the Department of Social Work, and Mrs. Shamila Banu for introducing me to the Erode Arts and Science College. Okay. If there are any questions, most welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Now the participants can post their questions in the chat box. So there is one question from Kamali Anand.
Yes.
What are all the potential direct impacts of COVID-19 on non-human primates?
On non-human?
Primates.
Primates. Non-human primates. Okay. So what do you think? What is according to you that this question you have asked? Like, which have prompted you to ask this question?
Kamali
Yes.
Anand, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think Kamal.
Hello.
Right?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you tell me.
Sir, human illama vera animals human allada வந்து டைரக்ட்டா வந்து அஃபெக்ட் ஆகக்கூடியவங்க யாருங்க சார்?
அது மாதிரி இது வரைக்கும் ஒண்ணும் அதாம்மா நீங்க உங்க I saw your question like you have asked about the non-human primates and other okay.
Yes.
So
Yes,
there is no much records available and data available on these wildlife are being affected by the coronavirus. Only very in zoo in United Kingdom, I think in London, one of the zoos they reported that the COVID-19 have affected one of the wildlife. But I don't think that so much data is available with reference to these primates being affected by this COVID-19.
Only human only affected from this.
Yeah, that's what is the data available, and you can very well get connected with the media for the latest information. I'm sure that this won't affect the wildlife, like any of the other aspects other than the human beings. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Participants, any more questions?
Okay, so in the absence of any questions, I just once again thank the organizing committee, Dr. Bahawadi Raja, the head of the Department of Social Work, then the principal, then the secretary of the college, then Mrs. Shamila Banu for your the elaborate arrangements. I thank also our own departmental staff from the environmental sciences, my colleague Dr. Ravichandran, Dr. Chandra Mohan, Dr. Dennison, and Mrs. Udaya Banu for their arrangements, and Mr. Baran, the technical IT staff also. I request all of you to show yourselves, okay? We can take a photograph, right? Please show your face.
One second.
I can see Dr. Sukumar, and then Shamila Rose is with Rose. Sharmi Rose. And then Sophia Babu. Okay.
Hey, Shivamurthy and Barangay.
You can take a photograph and you can go with your proceedings, please. Dr. Redmi, Dr. Maheshwari, yeah, that's the guy. Maheshwari has to come. Sebastian is there. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's time to show gratitude. First
Okay.
of all, I thank Lord Almighty for being with us throughout the program. I extend my sincere thanks to the resource person, Professor Alagappa Moses sir, for sparing his precious time with us. You made this day an unforgettable one. Thank you, sir. Then I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. R. Venkatachalam sir, who gave us support and lots of encouragement for the successful ending of this program. Then I would like to thank Dean of Science, Mr. P.M. Selvaraju sir, for rendering your ideas and support throughout the program. Thank you, sir. And also I would like to thank our technical person, Mr. Kevin Prabhu, for the technical support for the smooth conduct of this program. Last but not least, I would like to express my thanks to all the participants from various colleges for showing your interest towards this program. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Those participants, those who fill your feedback form, can leave the session. Feedback link is in the chat box. Please make use of it.
Sharmi ma'am, unique ID.
Ma'am, registration பண்ணவங்களுக்கு மெயில்ல வந்திருக்கும் மேம்.
மெயில் எதுவும் வரலையேம்மா எனக்கு.
மெயில் சரி ஓகே மேம், நோ ப்ராப்ளம். சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல டீடைல்ஸ் இது பண்ணிடுங்க மேம், நாங்க அப்படியே இது பண்ணிடுறோம். சர்டிபிகேட் வந்துரும் மேம்.
ஓகே மேம், தேங்க் யூ தேங்க் யூ தேங்க் யூ.
Participants, you will get your certificate as early as possible. Those who have unique ID, please fill it out. Otherwise, post your names and designation, your institute in the chat box so that we'll able to see and we'll give you the certificate.
இருப்பா ஒரே நிமிஷம். ஹலோ.
Yes, ma'am.
சொல்லுங்க சார். ஆமாங்க சார். எல்லாருக்கும் மத்தியில்
Hello, can I ask questions for how to get access a clean water? Your sixth goal. Then 17th goal for global participant partnership for sustainable development. How it is possible for this type of questions, please? I want to clarification about these 2 points.